paint this one. It's such a cute one. I drew up this little shopping cart with a little goose and a pillow, and then it has this little sign. If you don't want probably out thrifting, you can flip it over and write whatever you want to on there. I just got this to put on there. On my original design, it was square, but I felt like it needed to be round to break it up a little bit. So we'll do that a little bit later, but let's work on painting in all the details because it's so cute. I'm so excited about this one. So let's start with the grocery cart, and I actually might need to put a little white in that. Just a smidge of white. Yeah, come on, don't play with me. I don't want a lot, but I just don't want it to be too dark gray. Okay. And I'm not trying to paint in all these like through the, I'm just going with the gray because, I mean, I could, you know, paint it different, but like, and leave it open, but, and paint like stuff behind it. Listen, if you want to get all that creative, more power to you. Because we're going to cover up the majority of it anyway with that oval sign. So I'm not going to worry about that. And we'll come in and add some line work on there with black a little bit later. But I'm actually going to do this part right here. I'm going to paint this. I thought about opening it up, and you can do that if you purchase like the SVG file. If you want to open this section up, I didn't do it because I didn't want to make it weak. I'm actually going to paint it black just because it needs like, I just didn't want to make the file too weak by painting, make the wood too weak by painting it in. So, or cutting it out, sorry. So I'm just painting it in black. You can cut it out if you would like. And I'll go back and do that a little bit later. But I'm painting the part of the wheels here, the little bracket, and then I'm painting the center of the wheel gray as well. Okay. So let's do that, and I'll come back with the black. Then I'm just going to paint the rest of my shopping cart with this gray and white mixture. And I'm using, again, I know I say it every time, but I'm using Crafters Collection paint, which is Hobby Lobby's house brand. And I use a little bit of deco art too. That's just kind of the two that I go back and forth between. They're my faves, so I guess it's just what you get used to. And I've always used those when I did classes, so. Okay, all right, so we have our shopping cart painted there. And then I've got a little bit here that I'm gonna just paint with the gray too. All right, go right on up in there. And then I'm gonna paint the same thing there at the back of the buggy. I didn't bring my original drawing up here because I forgot it. It's downstairs, but it's fine. I think I can remember sort of what I did. But all right, so let's let that sit there, and let's paint our goose with some white. Okay, let's get a coat of white on there. And I'm not gonna worry about going over the bow and stuff because I'm gonna paint that a different color too. So I'm just gonna paint it and paint it all white, and then I'm gonna go back with the colors that I want for my goose, like the blue bow and all that. So. And this file has double lines, but yours does not. Yours will not have double lines. I just always, I cut it and then paint it, and then I go back and clean my lines up and all the things. I've got like a tickle in my throat that just, yuck. Okay. So I'm gonna do a coat of white on that. Got that painted in. And I'll have to probably end up doing 2 coats on it, but that's just the way it goes usually. You end up having to do an extra coat. I think I'm gonna do the lampshade for this lamp. I'm gonna do it like just like a creamy color, like a natural, like this is just kind of like a skin tone color. Let me reach over here and grab some brushes. And no reason for choosing that. I just thought that would be something different because I didn't want to put white right next to the white goose. So I thought this cream color would work. And I actually could do the little trim like a different color, like the little scalloped edge. I could do it a different color just to add like a cute little touch to it. I could do it with something else. I kind of was leaning toward, I know I want the bowl to be green, and let's see. I think I want the bowl to be green, and then we'll do, let's put a little green on here. As you can see, I'm so professional. I just squirt it right on there. Whatever works, you know. So I'm gonna paint that in. So we're gonna do our little bowl. Then let's set that there for a second, and let's do the, I'm not quite sure about the lamp. I did like a brown, kind of like a brown color on the, what you call it, but I don't know. I don't really know if that's what I want to do. I think I'm gonna do like a really pale blue for the pillow. So, and then I'm gonna add like the little cute designs on there from the, with like a kind of quilt looking motif or whatever you want to call it. So let's do like a light blue for the pillow. That's actually darker than what I want it to be. So let's mix a little white in with it. Lighten it up just a little. That might still be too dark. Actually, I think it is just a little too dark. I want it like a really pale blue. Okay, I think that might be the trick. Yeah, I think I like that better. Okay. We're gonna do a little star pattern on the pillow. Okay. All right. So we've got that. And then I'm really struggling on that. I might actually could do like gold. Like I could do like a gold base for the lamp, but I really would rather do something else. Like I don't know. Let me ponder on that for a little bit. And then I need to do the bow on the goose. So let's do that. Okay. We'll do a coat and then we can come back and dry it and then do another coat. Because this white still may be a little wet, but I'm just wanting to kind of get everything painted in with a coat of paint, okay? And those lines, I use those lines as a guide, but you know, if I get off of them a little bit, I don't stress over it. Because it's not something that shows up really bad, like, you know, after it's painted. And if you put enough coats over them, they'll disappear completely. Struggling on what to do with that. I missed a spot of my little shopping cart here. Can't decide what to do on my lamp. Let me think on that. Let's see, we do need to all do our, I think I'm gonna use like this sort of burgundy-ish red color for the quilts on the pillow. And then just kind of mix it with maybe like a little bit of a different shade to lighten it just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do like a, gonna go in and do like my so then we'll come in and just kind of paint the different sections to give like that star sort of pattern. All right. So that will be and these lines will be on your file. I just did not add them in here. So that will be something you won't have to worry about doing the lines for. Okay. Okay, so let's pause and dry this for just a second, and hopefully I can decide in between that what color I should do my lamp, and then we will come back. Okay, let's get this good and dry. Okay, so we got our wood dry for the most part, and then we can go back in and I'm gonna start filling in some of this black right quick. But I do need another brush for the black. And I need black paint wherever it's at. There it is. Okay, and I need more cups. I'm out of cups. I probably have some black over here, but who knows? So I'm just gonna squirt a little bit right there. Okay, let's do our wheels. I am freezing up here in my studio space. You know, we had a little bit of warm weather, and then it decided it was going to get cold again, and my air was on up here. So I came up here yesterday, and it was so cold up here that it was freezing. It was absolutely unbearable. And so today It's still a little chilly, but it's slowly warming up. I turned the heat on. So, all right. So we are going to do our little, and then I'm going to do this little section right here. I'm going to do it with black just because I don't want to cut it out. So I'm just going to paint it in black, let it be a little shadow, a little cutout that is painted in. I mean, you can choose to, if you want it, if you buy the file, the SVG file, you can do it however you want to. But if you buy a blank from me, I'm leaving it uncut because I don't want it to break. I don't want it to be too flimsy. Okay. All right. Okay, we're back, and I was recording and my phone fell off of my tripod because I was trying to adjust it and paint got everywhere. So you are going to see I had to edit that out. I got to fix that. But anyway. Oh my Lanta, you can't make this stuff up. I'm so professional over here. Such a pro. Okay. All right, so I'm painting in that little section at the bottom, and I'll come back and clean up some of those lines a little bit. And then I want to flip this around and work on, get that out of the way, work on I've got 8 million colors of paint over here. Put another coat of blue on the bow. Right now we're just sort of color blocking and getting everything painted in with the colors that we want. That's the sort of time consuming part of it. And then I want to use I want to make like a lighter pink to do maybe like my other part of my little star over here. So I'm just going to do like a little bit of a different shade of that same. I just mixed a little bit of that skin tone color that I use for my lampshade. I just mixed it in with the burgundy or that reddish cranberry color to make this secondary color for my little quilt star here. Okay. All right. So cute. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's now go and do the green on my little, I want to use just like a lighter green for the bowl. So I'm gonna go and lighten this up. I just took the green brush that was already in the green paint, and I'm adding just a little bit of white to it to help mix it up a little bit and just break up that dark green. I don't want it to be that dark. So I just can't decide on my lamp. What would be a cute like lamp color? And I just don't know yet. Can't decide. But I do think I'm going to do a little bit of gold there. I think I'm gonna do a little gold up here at the top on the lamp because I think that'll be cute. So let's go ahead and do that. That'll be like the top of the lamp. It's gonna have a little gold on it. The bottom, don't you know? I mean, I don't want to do blue because I feel like I have a lot of blue. Am I getting paint all over me? Yes, I am. Good gravy. Okay, let's see. Let me think here on this. You know, I don't know. I'm struggling with that gold. I'm struggling with that lamp. I'm gonna paint in his beak real quick. It's like I really like the idea of it being colorful, but just not quite sure what is like the best color to use for it to kind of help offset. I may even end up doing like a corally orange color just because I've got so much blue to help balance out that blue. So I'm going to squirt a little bit of orange in here and let's try that. Let's sort of mix up this sort of vintage looking orange maybe. Is that such a thing? Vintage orange? I don't know, but kind of like this burnt orange color. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I just like it to have color. So and I kind of have the red and green contrast or complementary, and then the blue and the orange. So I think that might end up working pretty good. All right, so let's put another coat on the blue, and I'd also need to do some more on the white as well. Need to do another coat on it. And I need to paint in this like skin tone color on the lampshade. I need to do that around this here. So let's go do that. Okay. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of like this brown. And add like a little bit of like shading on the lampshade here. I don't want it to be really dark, but I do want to add like some definition to the lampshade. And like not have it yeah. Here we go. Cute. Okay. Love it. All right, so then I want to do the same thing for our goose. I'm going to flip it around. I think it'll be easier to do with it. Let's rinse this brush out. When my camera fell, I got paint all over my jeans. Like, what a mess. What a mess. All right, so I actually want to use a little bit of gray on the goose and sort of outline it a little bit. This is the same color that I'm using for the, that I used for the buggy. I'll get it out in a minute. I missed a little spot right there of paint. Okay. All right. So I'm going to use that to add the details around the edge of the tail there, and then even on like the neck and around the head. All right, and then I'll take my white and go in and sort of smear it a little bit more. Right. She's so cute. I mean, I'm gonna say it's a girl. It could technically be a boy, I guess, but I think it's a boy. I mean, a girl. Okay. All right, and then I want to take this gray, and I'm just cleaning up down here because my hands got a little crazy. And I want to use the gray and the white to add a little bit of like details to my card here. Like up here and going down the side there of the cart. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing up at the top, right here. Now remember this, we're adding that, we're going to be adding the sign over the top of it, but I still want to add in, and I'm going to still use like the, these lines. I'm going to go in and just add in like some little tracing over those lines there. And I'm using the white, and I'm gonna go back over it and soften it just a little bit with the gray. Even though I know that a lot of this is going to be covered up, I'm still going to paint it and add details to it because I do want it to be part of the, you want to just go over anyway. You're going to cover it up, I know, but it just helps to make it look more cohesive and not look like you didn't put any effort into that section just because it was covered up. it'll look better in the end. Okay. All right. And I may even come back and add a little bit more, but for now, I'm just sort of using this white to blend it out a little bit. And I may come back and add, you know, some more details to it, but I'm also gonna be using black too. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right. And I'm gonna do the same thing with my little pillow here. I'm gonna use the white to go around the edge of it, like that. And then I'm gonna take just like a little bit of this darker blue that I use for the bow on the goose. And I'm gonna use it to add a little bit of definition on the pillow. Just some little wrinkles and folds and things. Okay. And then let's see. The bowl, it definitely needs a little bit more paint in this section right here. So let's darken that up. This is the inside of the bowl, so alright. Okay. And then I will use the same kind of thought process or idea with the lamp here. I'm going to use a little bit of a lighter shade. I'm using that flesh tone color with my orange just to add some little details on it. That's the thing, is you really can't mess it up. You truly can't. And if you do mess it up, here's the thing, you just go and paint over it, you know? It's not a big deal. I have definitely learned that much. If you make a mistake, you can fix it. It can be fixed. Okay. All right, so let's take and use that. Where's my yellow at? Right. I mixed it in with that, didn't I? Yuck. Let's take this goose here. And let's go around the edge of her mouth here with that. And let's put a little bit more of that gold in there on the brush. I'm just going to use it to blend a little bit. Okay. All right, and then we're going to have, I use like 50 million brushes, just so you know. I'm going to paint in the eyeball here. And then she does need some lashes. So I feel like we need to give her some lashes there. Perfection. And that is dry. So I want to do, I want to paint that in. That is just like the little flowers. And I think that I want to do those with like this gold color. Just because I want to add like some more of that gold in. You know, this is kind of like 70s gold color. So I'm just going to use that to make for my little bowl here. Okay. And this, you know, I just sort of did like a little decorative pattern. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we have it kind of painted in the way that we like it. You know, I've got all the little extra little details and stuff on it. I'm going to set it back here, and I'm going to work on my little sign. And when I hold it up to that gray, I want to do something kind of bright, just because I want it to stick out. I want it to show up when I put it on my thing here. And I'm kind of leaning toward like this sort of fleshy, actually, you know what I think I might do? I think will be really cute is, let's just treat it as like let's do like a little stain on it to make it look like a little stained painting. I think I like that idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some brown paint, and I'm going to dip my brush in it and get it really wet. And I'm just going to rub it on there really quick like this. And get it covered to where it's just like you can sort of see the wood through it, and then I'm going to wipe it off, and it leaves this like look of like a stain. And I think that is going to be like, yeah, that's cute. That's what I want to do. Okay, good. So I'm going to let that sit and dry for a second. And like I said, I just wiped over the top of it and gave it like a stained sort of vintage look. I want to come back over here, and I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to use my paint pen to add some lines to it. So let's dry it really good, and then we'll come back and do outlining before we attach the sign. Okay, we have it dry, so let's work on adding some little outlines. And I'm just using a black Posca pen with like a bullet tip, and I'm just going to go in and sort of add my little lines in. And I'm not making sure they're perfect. I'm just having fun with them. And this is just sort of like the little lines for the buggy. I call it a buggy. Some people call it shopping carts, but here in South Carolina, it's a buggy, okay? Just want you to know. I don't know what y'all call it where you are, but okay. So here is our buggy, our shopping cart. And I'm just going in and going around and adding in those little lines to give it some definition and make it look like it's supposed to look, like my little shopping cart. Okay? And I'm going to go in and even do the lines in the back of this, even though I know that my shopping cart is not going to, you know, technically a shopping cart is not see-through. But, again, it's going to be covered up. If you want to, like, fill in the bottom part of your shopping cart, of course, you know, you can do that. I chose not to, only because I'm putting that plaque on there. And for sake of detail, this is, you know, I don't get too caught up in the details, so, you know. All right, let's flip our little card around, and let's work on our goose. I need to add her little hole for her nose there. Okay. And then we're going to do her face. And then let's do her little bow. All right, and I'm gonna add like some little stitches just because I think it'll make it cute. Like to have some little stitches around the edge of that, just to kind of give that little vintage, little thrifted vibe. I just think it looks cute. So I just added like some little lines around the edge to make it look like it was thrifted. And I can even come in here and add like the little lines for the buggy at the back there. Okay. So this is our bowl. And what I'm gonna do with these circles is I'm just gonna go in and I'm just gonna go in and add like a little quick outline around this. There we go. Stop it. She is so cute. Oh my gosh, she's adorable. Love it. Love her. Look how cute she is. Oh my goodness. I get so excited over the stupidest stuff. But anyway. Anywho. Okay. So let's go in. And I'm just using my white paint pen now to add a few little highlights in there, you know, just to add a little extra to it. Okay, and let's take our little plaque and it will go right here on the top like that, and we're gonna add I'm gonna use my black paint pen and I'm just gonna trace over the words that say probably out thrifting. And I'm not doing like really thick lines. This is like a little skinny font. So if you just kind of go over the top of that line on the font, so I'll let you just kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just going right in the middle of those lines on the font. And it keeps it thin and it gives you a good outline for tracing out your words. And I think this is probably the cutest thing I've seen all day. I'm just saying, you know? I mean, and I've seen some cute stuff today. But this, my friend, is cute. Okay, probably out thrifting. Probably out thrifting. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do around the edge is I'm gonna use my paint pen just to add like some little like rivets around the edge. I just think it'll be cute, like some little dots to make it look like it's sort of like a little, you know. Oh my gosh, that's so adorable. Now I'm just gonna stick it on there. How cute! Oh my gosh, I love it. So let's get some glue. All right, and then we will it's got a little stuck place on it. I can't get it off. So what do? You bite it off. Okay, I just put a little bit of Gorilla wood glue on there, and I'm gonna stick it right in the middle, like so, and let that set up. And what I wanna do too is, since I've got this now dried on there, I wanna take my brown paint, and I wanna rust up my buggy a little bit, my little shopping cart. So I'm using like a dry brush. And I'm going in and adding a little rust to my buggy, okay? I'm not going crazy, but just making it look a little worn out, a little wore out, a little tired buggy. And I'm just adding a little bit of distressing too. Nothing crazy, but yeah. Let's take this white and I need to add like some white around the shopping cart wheels too, so they stand out a little bit better. Now, that, my friends, is cute. I gotta say, she's adorable, and I feel like you're gonna need her. People are gonna need her. They're gonna want her. She's cute. But anyways, enough of my rambling, but how cute is that? So I just thought that was a fun one to paint, and it's such a cute little just design for my thrifting friends. So if you want the blank, like I said, if you don't have the blank, if you're just watching this video and you don't have the blank, you can get it at paintedupchesney.com, or you can get the SVG file or the template if you do not have a laser to use the SVG. But thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day, friend.